Welcome back to another Full Force Combat MMA podcast, proudly sponsored by Hez Boxing Equipment. This is UFC London preview. It's the date, similar every year, March. It's at the venue, the O2 Arena, which is just like the shrine for UFC in the UK, even though it's come up to Manchester last year. We're back, baby. We're back at the O2. Leon Edwards is headlining, and we've got a stats card, haven't we, boys? Let's work our way from top to bottom. This is breathtaking, this card for a fight night card, isn't it, lads? Nathan, you kick us off, Miller.
Yeah, this is a great card because, I mean, we've spoke before about the UFC just offering some right crap. We didn't speak about the Apex card because, I mean, as much as UFC can pretend like it was really fun, it wasn't really that fun. It just had some good fights on it. Of course, it's the UFC. It should have some very good fights on it. But this is UFC at its best. Good fight nights, regional base. You've got a lot of British fighters on there, British and Irish fighters, and they're going to hopefully entertain because we've had some mixed luck with these cards being good and bad. So hopefully this one is a good one. We're going to start with Kutateladze. Guram Kutateladze is fighting Cal Fernandez. Now, Kutateladze, the fact that he is the first prelim, it just baffles me, really. Again, I know it's not all gone his own way, but the wins this guy has in UFC is 2-2. But this guy has some real wins. He went to a split decision against Ismagulov as well. And I'm pretty sure that was like controversial. I'm pretty sure that could have really gone. I mean, it's split, but it really felt like one of those could have gone either way. It wasn't like a dodgy card or anything. But on Gamrot's first fight, his debut fight, he beat Mateusz Gamrot. And Gamrot is a killer, hell of a fighter. Lost to Elvis Bremer, which was an interesting defeat, but you know that happens. Perhaps not someone you would associate, especially when he went on to lose 2 straight after, and then beat Jordan Vucenic. And while Vucenic was on short notice, again, it's a really good win. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do here because, I mean, realistically, he's someone that needs to get that consistency going because skill-wise, he actually is on that level to be a top fighter at lightweight. I genuinely believe that, but he has to put the consistency together and put those wins together.
I think they put him first on to maybe warm the crowd up a little bit because he's
set the tone.
Yeah. His fights are entertaining, and he's not going to be well known to the British casual fan, is he? And they go and the first fight on. I expect him to beat this Kyle Fernandez anyway. So if he goes out there, sets a pace on him, sets a tone for the night straight away, instantly.
Absolutely. And he's a Georgian, so it's a European on a European card, and I agree with that. It's set the tone. Like Nathan said, just touch on that. The names on his record, he's 2-2, but me, the boy's exciting, and hopefully he'll kickstart that card. But I know he is expected to win, but Fernandez has had 9 wins, and you don't get 9 wins if you're shit. You're not in the UFC if you're shit at the end of the day. So. That's an interesting matchup, but Kutateladze should come through that with flying colours. And the next one, this is of massive interest. It's the first one of the domestic kind of matchups that we need. It's a former amateur fight, Keelan Loughran and Nathan Fletcher. This is a really interesting one. We got Nathan's thoughts leading up to it, didn't we, Nathan?
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a written out. We had Nathan on, and he was very confident. Obviously, everyone's probably, or a lot of people have seen that viral clip of Paddy saying exactly what he thought would happen in that fight. And Nathan Fletcher himself, he's not really taken too much into notice, but he does feel like after that amateur fight they had, that Loughran sort of copied his style and was trying to be like him and moved over to Liverpool and started training. And so it is an interesting fight, and I think Loughran may be trying to, twist the needle a little bit, but Fletcher's up for it. Obviously, I might be a little bit not biased, but obviously Fletcher, speaking to him and understanding and hearing him, you feel a lot more confident in someone, what you said here. And I'm sure if I spoke to Loughran, I'd probably maybe go 50-50 on it. But Fletcher's a great fighter, and again, really early on in the card for a fight like this. And I guess maybe that plays on the UK fans. They're more likely to be there from the start. They're not going to be, so the American fans, they only get in for the last few fights because they're just so used to having these fights. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Obviously, I've got a bit more vested interest. If you're watching Full Force Combat, you've got to watch the Nathan Fletcher interview. It's probably one of the bigger names we've had on here. And yeah, so I'm intrigued for how this fight goes. I think it's going to be really close still, because Loughran has improved an awful lot, I assume, since being an amateur, and he's shown how good he is. So, but I still find it hard to look past Fletcher. I don't know about you, Alex.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. You know, you mentioned before that Loughran's got more of a grappling style now. I was thinking, is this going to be a bit of a grappler's delight? Is this going to be a lot of grappling work, or because they're both so good at the ground and because they got a bit of history, are they just going to go and start throwing hands on each other straight away? So I'm really looking forward to this one. It's a personal pick of the card for me, even though it's even though it's early on. It's like we said, Nathan Fletcher's a full force combat favourite. Obviously trains with my coach Matt at Next Gen, so there's like some personal interest too. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. They're both from Cage Warriors as well. We never got to see them fight in Cage Warriors, but we get to see it on the big stage now. And I think if you're into the UK MMA scene and you know what's going on, this is a big fight.
It is. It's absolutely massive. If this was on a Cage Warriors, it'd be a headline for a championship, without a shadow of a doubt. And the interesting thing is, like you said, Al, it could be a grappler's delight. However, they might just fuck it all off and stand and bang. That's the beauty of this fight. Nobody knows really what's going to happen. I'm with you guys. I'm leaning towards Nathan, not just based on hearing him speak and his tone and being around him on Saturday night and feeling his aura. I just think you look at his record and his finishes and his UFC debut, which he had to fight compromised and still managed to get the win. I think I'm leaning towards a Fletcher stoppage. However, this is not to rule out Loughran because we don't know how motivated he is, and we don't know how much he has actually improved. Well, we do know how much he's improved, but despite his losses, he needs to go into this all guns blazing, and he needs a massive, massive win over Nathan Fletcher. However, my money's on Nathan coming through it, and an interesting matchup for after this. I like playing matchmaker, especially with our guys. He fought on the weekend, Damon Blackshear. He stopped Cody Gibson with a Kimura in round number 2. He's just put himself on a 2-fight win streak. He's 16 at 7-1, but he's on a 2-fight win streak. Nathan wins on Saturday. He's on a 2-fight win streak. There's the next matchup at bantamweight for them too. I think that's absolutely perfect. But I'm with you, Alex, as well as Vucenic and who's Vucenic fighting Chris Duncan? Is he fighting Chris Duncan? He's
fighting Chris Duncan. Yeah.
That's another one that I've got a massive personal interest in. But yeah, this one is absolutely standout. Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean we've got some more British fighters coming up, and Irish, of course. Better not say British for everyone because Shauna Bannon's on Pooja Tumar. That's going to be an interesting fight. Both have sort of been hit or miss in their career. Time to put something together for Bannon. Christian Leroy Duncan up against Pulayev. I'll be honest, that's a really hard one to call because Leroy Duncan's been quite inconsistent in the UFC, and Błachowicz is a completely, for me at least, an unknown quantity. I don't know a whole lot about him. Looking at his record, he's got a decent contender series win, but it's a lot of journeymen. It's a lot of those sort of opponents you get in Russia. So tough to call that one. But I think a real fight of interest is Mick Parkin versus Marcin Tybura. I mean, that is a real, Tybura for me is the gatekeeper at heavyweight, and if Mick Parkin can come through that, then you're looking at someone that could be a real contender in the heavyweight division. Dan, you know him well. What can we expect from this one?
It's the acid test, isn't it, Tybura, for Parkin? Absolutely the acid test. My only worry is Parkin's steaming his way towards the number 1 spot. His best pal, one of his best pals, is the number 1 in Tom Aspinall. So it's just like Tom needs to hurry up and get this John Jones fight out of the way, and then move on and do whatever he's doing. Go and make some money having one boxing fight or something because the money's ludicrous. So Mick Parkin, so we can wait just for the sake of so we can have another English heavyweight champion surging towards the title. Tom relinquishes it, does whatever, and Mick Parkin's next in line. We don't have to worry. We've got our heavyweight champion in the making, as well as the one that needs to be crowned officially undisputed. But this fight itself, it's got the wow factor for a heavyweight fight, hasn't it? A contender fight, both of them ranked. And you've got to lean towards Parkin just for the sake of his being undefeated. But going off based on the last fights, they both produced, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's a tough one to call when you look at it like that. However, I don't think this is going to a decision, no matter who wins, boys. I don't think this one's going the distance.
No, I don't get why it's midway up the bloody prelims. I don't get why it's not on the main card.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, both guys have delivered in nearly all of the fights. So heavyweights, you go on the main card. There's not really a lot of big dudes on the main card. Well, you've got the light heavyweight co-main, but still, two big heavyweights, both ranked. Like I don't get why it's in the mid prelims, but I think we're going to see a classic Mick Parkin, chilled, picks his shots, technical. He's very technical, Mick Parkin. I don't know why. I've got it in my head that he's going to go out there and piece him up over 3 rounds, but I could be wrong. He could be wrong. He could spark him. Tybora might choke him out. It's a beauty of heavyweight MMA, I guess.
I hope it doesn't go the distance. Not to be, because that would probably mean it'd be quite a laboured, fight that perhaps we don't want to see. So and Parkin could, to be honest, that's probably his actual way to victory is just to keep it on the feet. And while he's great on the ground, he's got probably a clear advantage over Tybura in the striking, especially probably with the intensity. And I don't know Tybura's gas tank. It's not bad, but it's he's a big lad. Do you know what I mean? So it's one that could definitely be the way to victory. So it depends how he wants to play it. Obviously, he's not probably got the option of I'll just do what I want. But if he wants to go out there, make a statement, you hope for the knockout. But if he wants to just again keep going up the ranks, a good knockout win could put him in a really nice position, because there are openings in heavyweight for him. So he'll be hoping for a showcase knockout here, because you don't know 11 at heavyweight that could land you a very good main event fight against someone like Cyril Gane or Pavlovich or Volkov. That he's not far off that now, whereas maybe a slower performance might put him back a little bit and force him into some fights that not that he wouldn't want to have, but that aren't particularly the show steam fights, and just slow down that journey a little bit more. I know he's still young, plenty of time, but a showcase would really be could be a big opportunity for him to take.
Absolutely. I think if he can put on a big statement, I know he's on the prelims, give it 12 months' time when they come back to London, and depending on what happens with Leon, Tom's not going to be nowhere near a fight night card, obviously. Paddy's not going to be nowhere near it. Mick Parkin could be the one headlining a UK fight night card soon. He's a heavyweight. He's a banger. If he keeps producing, don't forget he's getting win bonuses and stuff as well. So it all roads are leading to headline or co-main events for Mick Parkin if he can produce on Saturday. Now, another full force combat favourite. Nathan, you got his last ever Cage Warriors interview. Lonnie Cav, Felipe De Santos. Another terrific matchup, isn't it?
Really good fight. And don't be put off by the record Santos has in the UFC, because the guys he's lost to, Manel Cape and Andre Lima, these are good names to not good names to lose to, but if you're going to lose to people, you lose to those guys. He's a really good fighter. Kavanagh came for a really tough fight in his debut, and we know he's full of confidence. He's someone that is so impressive, and it does tend to get into these sort of wars. His fight at that Cage Warriors event wasn't all his own way. It wasn't a fight that was completely one-sided. De Silva had moments in that fight. So if it gets into that sort of war category, it would be fantastic to watch, but it might not guarantee a victory. So I'm really up for this fight. I think this is going to be a real test and a chance for Kavanagh to show really how good he is, and I think he's going to do it, but hopefully not by in a way, as a neutral, you want him to just get you want just a war, but for Kavanagh's sake, you sort of hope that he almost just gets through it and just shows everyone, look, I am this good in this fight.
Absolutely. I think you summed it up perfectly. The Sean De Silva fight, there was iffy moments in there that had to test his mettle a little bit, but he's shone through, and I think it's his quality time and time again that shines through in it, Nathan, especially in the last fight. I mean, he went to a decision. Yeah. He was gunning for the knockout. I think the long kicks are a very good weapon for Lonnie Cav, and that will take him right the way through the rankings at flyweight, because I don't think any of them are that. Besides Pantoja, none of them have really got a full artillery. I think Lonikav's. I don't think he's the full complete package yet, but he's moulding himself into it. You know, he's on his way there. But like you said as well with Dos Santos, don't be put off by his record in the UFC. He's a good fighter, and this is an acid test for. I like that word tonight. Acid test. It's an acid test for Lonikav to say that. Right, I've fought 2 prospects now. One of them was an undefeated prospect. Felipe Dos Santos has only had 2 defeats, the same amount of wins as me. I'm ready for a contender now, not just to get. I've fought 2 prospects. Now I'm ready to fight a contender. Nathan, I mean, Alex, you give us your thoughts on it, mate.
Yeah. To be honest, I think this one's going to be quite grueling. Both lads are on a similar trajectory, both similar skill sets. It's going to be a tough test for Lonnie Kavanagh, but fingers crossed he passes, like fucking another English fighter on the card. Let's hope he gets through the Brazilian. Just to touch back a little bit, I just had a bit of a brainstorm while we were. I'm just going to jump back to Mick Parkin and the Tybora fight. As you mentioned, Mick Parkin has the potential to headline a fight night. Now, in January last year, I went to the Utility or Util Arena in Newcastle, and obviously Mick Parkin's from Sunderland, not too far down the road. Imagine a UFC event up in Newcastle. We saw how the Sunderland crowd turned out for too small. So I don't know. I thought it looked quite big when I was there. I think
it's about 12,000. Why would they do that when they could do Manchester at 20 odd or London? It's for that because they know an extra. If they were to do an 11,000, 12,000 arena, they're losing out on nearly 10,000 worth of ticket sales.
True.
I
was thinking.
I like your thinking.
Yeah.
However, during COVID, they was meant to go to Edinburgh or Glasgow, one of them, and it got cancelled. That's not too far up the road from Sunderland, only a couple of hours. Maybe a fight night there, maybe Parkin headlining there, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Stadium of Light's big enough if they want to throw it in there. It's 40,000 seats in that place. So.
It's freezing like,
yeah. We can do it there, but I mean, look, there's still so many. We're just halfway through this card. There's still.
What I mean, is it Saturday yet, boys? Is it Saturday yet?
I mean, Jay Herbert.
Get me to the fucking pub now.
Jai Herbert, Chris Padilla. I mean, this fight. Don't let the records fool you here, because if you remember, Jai Herbert gave Ilya Taporia a lot of trouble in that fight. And Padilla's on a good run now of 15-6, but he's put it together now in the UFC. That's going to be an intriguing fight, but I think the fight above it, the first fight in the main card, is just an incredible fight. Nathaniel Wood, Morgan Charrier. It's the YouTube fight front versus Morgan Charrier. I think that's just his channel name. But these guys are killers. They're so good, and for them to be matched against together, this is the sort of matchmaking we love to see. This is going to be an incredible fight, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, more Cage Warriors alumni too. I'm not. I don't think these guys ever.
Different. Yeah.
No, they didn't. Yeah. But still, mate, it's got fucking Fight of the Night written all over it. Again, if you're into the European UK MMA scene, you know who Nathaniel Wood is, and you know who Morgan Charrier is. Yeah, fucking butchered it, but yeah. I think this one's going to be an absolute war. To be honest, I don't see. Both of them are absolute dogs, mate. I don't see either one of them going down. Nathaniel Wood's in front of his own crowd, and Morgan Charrier is just a dog anyway. So I think it's going to be a long night for both fellas on this one. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, they are both dogs, and Charrier's losses on his record, don't let that fill you for anyone that's not seen him or that's not familiar with him, because this. I feel bored of saying it, but it could steal the show, and they could say that about every fight. That's just a testament to how good this fight night card is from a UK perspective. Nathaniel Wood, very, very strong featherweight. Was potential of seeing him with the Rowan Murphy at one stage, which I'd like to see that fight again down the line. But for now, this one's an absolute banger. I'm leaning towards Wood. I don't know if that's bias or I'm just going with my head over my heart, but yes, Nathaniel Wood. And the Jai Herbert Padilla fight. Jai Herbert, another one from Renegade. All the Renegade fighters are out over the next, and have been over the last and next several few weeks. And I think he'll get it off to a good start for Renegade fighters on Saturday. He's no mug Jai Herbert, but neither's Padilla. But I think this is the fight for Jai Herbert to like, don't write me off. I'm still here. I can still be in fun fights. Yeah. And if you give me a chance to keep fighting higher ranked guys, then that's what I can do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean,
sorry, Nathan. Sorry to cut you off there. I was having a little gander down Jai Herbert's resume the other day, and as you mentioned before, Tuporia, but also in 2021, he also fought Money Moicano, which I did not realise at all. He's fought Zayam, who, as you watched from a few episodes, I'm quite big on Zayam, the French dude. But he's the guys he's fighting, they're not pushovers. He lost to Moicano, he lost to Tuporia, obviously, and I think he may have lost to Zayam too, but still, yeah, it's not like those guys are bums. I know there's no bums in the UFC, but you look at Zayam, he's on a fat win streak. Tuporia on one of the best runs, period. Money Moicano, who's an absolute G. So when you look at some of the guys he's lost to, it's not like particularly bad losses.
Funny, I was about to make the same point. That is literally what I was about to say.
Yeah. Great minds and all that, my brother. Great minds.
But I mean, Dan, I don't know if Dan, you have something there? I'm not sure. I didn't want to cut.
No, sorry, I was just listening to you two on the same brainwave of each other.
We talk about fight of the night. I mean, it does not get any easier, this competition for fight of the night, because Jordan Vucenic, Chris Duncan is next on the bill. I mean, that's an incredible. Chris Duncan is a killer. I keep saying killer. Chris Duncan is a knockout machine.
He's a
machine. Jordan Vucenic is an incredible stand-up fighter and has such skill on the feet. I mean, it's sort of almost a different style against each other, because Duncan's just going to spark you out, whereas Vucenic is going to style on you. That's the difference there. And what do you lean towards is going to work. So I've got to be honest, Vucenic is getting that for me in terms of just being able to outdo him on the feet. But then Duncan is in that fight from, if it goes 15 minutes, there's not a second Duncan isn't in it, because Duncan's capable of just putting one shot together that is enough for it to take out anyone. So where do you guys lean on that?
Definitely. I just think when it's really, really close up and they're in the clinch and stuff, I think Jordan's a lot stronger. And I think he's a lot more experienced. If you look at his previous fights, the Paul Hughes fights and stuff, when they've been in close-up proximity, Jordan produces the goods. I'm not saying that Chris doesn't, but I just think Jordan's got a lot more of a point to prove as well. And for just the fact when you read it back to yourself on paper, you just think blood, don't you?
Yeah.
The first thing you get in your head is blood and carnage. And another one that we could say is fight of the night. Is it Saturday yet? Come on.
Yeah. It kind of makes me worry a little bit though, because obviously both guys. Well, obviously Vucenic's got a bit of a point to prove, and I think Chris Duncan, he's coming off a win. Chris Duncan, isn't he? But he's coming off a win, so he's going to be looking to make a statement finish. It kind of worries me about both guys coming out a little bit cagey, but who knows? But who knows? I'm not looking forward to seeing the state of the octagon if things go the way we think it's going to go.
Yeah, it might be. I think it might be this fight. I think you're right about the caginess of it. I mean, they might feel each other out for quite a substantial period. However, if the card's been flying, they'll both know that to be a chance of a bonus.
we've got to go.
And it's their mentality. This is what I mean. That's their mentality. They'll be in there, they'll have it on the screen, and that's their mentality. It's just the card is just so stacked. Who's next? Molly McCann. She's had
Yeah, this feels like a really big fight for Molly in terms of her career and where to go now, because it's been that inconsistency, winning and losing, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And I think she's got to sort of put it together now. And this is a tough fight, especially if it's short notice. You know, a short notice opponent. It's a bit of an unknown quantity, great record. We don't know how, you know, sort of quality that record is, because I'm not too familiar in the Brazilian female MMA scene, but it's going to be tough. And you know, I back Molly to deliver, but this is really important now to start just getting those wins and putting them together, because she's certainly capable of it. Now it feels like it's time to start really putting that action towards, and what a way to start if you can do it, winning in England, and then hopefully having a successful venture out to the States, because I imagine she'll fight on. She's such a charismatic fighter, and again, someone that you just almost wish was capable of really putting it together, because that's a real asset for the UFC if she can. So I'm always, it's so easy to root for Molly McCann. I'm going to definitely be doing that on Saturday, but I'm just really hoping it can be the start of a good run, not just a good win.
I agree with you, Nath. I desperately wanted to go on a good run. When she moved down to strawweight, she got fight of the night bonus, didn't she? The first strawweight appearance on the fight night card. And then the last fight, she ended up getting injured pretty much straight away within the first 30 seconds. So she had to fight compromised, and she didn't get battered. It was just an outworn performance. It was just dry, and she knows that she was gutted with it. However, the time out from the cage now, she looks strong, she looks sharp, she looks confident. I'm just a bit worried about the change of opponent, not too much on her. And I know she's got a good record, but Brazilians and women Brazilians at the lower weights tend to be quite good. So that's my only worry. But obviously, I'm backing Meatball all day and all night. I'm a big Meatball fan. I always have been. I just think with Molly, she's one of them that you can say is one of the most improved fight. It might not seem what the record on paper, but she is. From where she's come, you look and you have the image in your head of Cage Warriors Molly McCann compared to the Molly McCann now. It's two totally different women. It's absolutely two totally different women. It's a testament to herself. Obviously, you get mature and you get wiser as you get older, but I just think she's standout for me. I think she's one that kids can look up to. I think that's why us here at Full Force Combat wanted to go on this good run and be more successful, and it's because she'll have all these kids following her, you know, like she does in Liverpool and stuff, but she'll be everywhere for her. And I think we need that female, and we've had the male mixed martial arts fighters that have been right at the top. We want, from our perspective, a female mixed martial arts fighter to be at the top, for Molly to be able to go and have a strawweight title run. Would you agree, fellas?
100%. And you got Dakota Dechever doing it, but I think just doing it in the UFC is slightly more. You get more eyes on it, and you know, so that. And again, McCann has the charisma, she has the star power. That probably is the difference in that sense. She's someone that people can relate to, people enjoy watching, they enjoy listening to. So yeah, we're all just rooting for McCann here, because I mean, it would be great if she could go on, or even just. Obviously, you wanted to reach the top of the mountain, but just maybe, you know, get to a title, you know, something like that would be a title fight, big moment in UK women's MMA, and so hopefully this is the start of something special for her, and it feels like a time that it is important that she goes and does that, because it's time to start, you know, hopefully getting that run together and getting the luck. And you know, obviously you don't want late pullouts and cancellations. That doesn't help, but this is just the first hill to overcome, and we'll get on that winning run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sorry, guys, just before you move on there, I just want to throw it out there. Molly McCann has provided some of my favourite UFC moments ever, full stop. And let me give you the context why. On the 19th of March 2022, UFC Fight Night London, I think it was Aspinall versus Volkov, I believe. She fought a woman called Carolina. Knocked her out, spinning back elbow. You should have seen the scenes in the pub when she pulled that off. There was pipes everywhere, beer on the roof, everyone going, come on! Everyone throwing, spinning it. Oh, one of the best moments ever. So thank you, Molly, for that. I appreciate that. Thank you, mate.
Love it. I absolutely love it. It was a great viral moment, and hopefully she can produce another one of them on Saturday. That'd be
again. I mean, you talk about fighters that are easy to root for and you want to get behind. I mean, this fight, I was just looking at his record. Kevin Holland in the third fight up from the main event. I mean, he needs a win here. And again, the losses aren't bad, but they are piling up, and they're starting to really go. And he's going up against sort of UFC London veteran Gunnar Nelson, who is just a staple of these events. And while these losses aren't bad for Kevin, He has a lot, Hamzat, Thompson, beat Ponzinibbio, beat Case, and then lost Della Maddalena, lost to Page, beat Oles, beat the Polish guy, and then beat Oleksiejczuk, let's go with that. Lost to Delize, lost to Derrida. And again, none of these, I mean, the Delize one was unfortunate because it was an injury. It just feels like Holland just needs to start putting it together. He's back down to welterweight now after a brief jaunt back up at middleweight. But against Gunnar Nelson, again, another guy who's got losses, but they're not bad losses to have. And he's a really tough fighter to beat. That could be, that could go either way, couldn't it? Holland could really show out, but it could be a 15-minute sort of Holland getting out grappled again sort of fight, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to go. Gunnar Nelson, like you said, is a staple, and if there's UFC London card and he's not on it, it's something fucking wrong, isn't there?
Yeah,
100%.
So just before we move on, there, I just want to touch on it. I find it quite mad. I remember on the build up to the Derrida fight, he didn't really. He seemed quite laid back about his career, and he was a bit lackadaisical with it, if you will. He didn't really seem too focused with it. And then after the performance against Derrida and TJ Dillashaw ripping the absolute fucking back off him on the Jackson podcast, saying he's never going to be a champion and all this, that and the other, I wonder if that's made him go, right, come on, tie up my boots. When's the next card that's realistic for me to jump on? UFC London, great, outright, boom, get me there. So I wonder if he's had like a little fire under him now, and he's going to go out there and try fucking do him in, like so I don't know. I think with Kevin Holland, his performances are either hit or miss. He either looks great or he loses pretty quickly. Come on, let's be real. Like, but yeah, quite an underrated fight, to be honest, in my opinion.
It's a very good fight, and Kevin Holland does need a win. I just think that maybe the drop back down to welterweight is a resurgence. He's fought 2 newcomers to the UFC recently in Michael Venom Page and Derrida, and now he's fighting another one that's very familiar to the UK scene. It's a pick and fight, isn't it? They both had the losses that they've had. Like I said, they're really good names. It's just a pick and fight. You could flip a coin and whoever it lands on, you never know.
Again, we'll go with another tough fight to pick in the co-main event: Carlos Ulberg, Jan Błachowicz. I mean, I was just checking that Jan Błachowicz, you might feel like maybe he's on the downward spiral, but the guys, he's lost a split to Alex Pereira. He drew with Ankalaev, and Carlos Ulberg's coming off a good win. But I mean, is this a little bit too early for Carlos Ulberg here against a guy like Jan Błachowicz, who has just done it and so many times, or is this now the time for Ulberg to almost avenge Izzy for that defeat years ago and move on to the top at light heavyweight? And again, where there is a bit of a gap at the moment with Pereira and Ankalaev sort of, being the only 2 guys really there.
I think it is the right time to step up the level of competition for Ulberg. However, you said it perfectly when it's the experience of Błachowicz, because he's been around for a long time, and I know he's at that level. But I think it's just the experience. The level is there with a lot of fighters, but yeah, it's the experience for me with that one. It's just a really tough one to call.
Yeah, I mean, I've one thing about Carlos Ulberg for me is just kind of Jan Błachowicz has had about 2 years out of the cage, and in that time, Carlos Ulberg has fought 3 or 4 times, something like that. And I'm leaning towards Ulberg beating Jan Błachowicz, to be honest. And I'm a big Polish power fan, but I just think maybe we're nearly the 2 years out the cage. Is he going to have a bit of cage rust, if you will?
I know, but it can be, but I think when you're at that level and you've fought and you've had 29 wins and you've had 20 fights in the UFC, like 18 fights in KSW, he's been a champion, he's lost the title. It all depends on how this 2 years has affected him in what manner, doesn't it? No. I think the level is the right time for Ulberg, but it's just the experience of the opponent at this level.
Yeah, without sounding too on the fence, it literally could go either way because, that could be, they say father time and Błachowicz isn't young. He's not getting younger. He's had so many fights and that will wear on him. And Ulberg's a big hitter, but also Błachowicz is at the level where he could come out and it'd be sort of, oh, you thought this young guy could beat me? Or are you taking the mick? Like, I'm just going to take this guy out. What do you expect? I'm going to grind him down 15 minutes and give him hell for it. So it could really go either way. I mean, I'm intrigued to see. There is gaps at light heavyweight. Again, we spoke before about there being gaps in certain divisions. Ulberg certainly is in a position to really capitalize on that and take advantage of that with a win here. And again, if you beat Błachowicz, I'd probably actually back him to beat some of the other guys that are up there, like Jamal Hill and those sort of guys. Roundtree, well, Roundtree's more middleweight, what am I saying? But it's that it's that group of fighters. I think he is better than them. And Błachowicz is better than them. Sorry, so. There is room to work there, and maybe even you could set up a fight against Prachka, which would be absolute chaos, but it would be a really good fight and a fight in light heavyweight that is a division that probably needs it a little bit outside of those top two. There's not a whole lot going on, and there's probably a bit of, in my eyes at least, a lack of faith in the contenders there to actually challenge either Pereira and Kalaev. So I think that could be a really good fight if Ulberg comes through unscathed. Well, not unscathed, but comes through with a win.
Yeah, if he beats Błachowicz, then I think make the Prohaska fight. I'm all for that, definitely.
Yeah, 100%, lads, 100%.
But the main
event, yeah.
Let's go, baby, let's go. It's a very, very tough one, isn't it, boys? Where do we go with this? Where do we go with this? Should we get predictions first? Because I'm not going to lie, I am on the fence. I am on the fence a little bit.
While we start off, I just want to throw it out there. I said this the other week. I can't believe they robbed Leon Edwards versus JDM off us, even though this fight is a banger. I can't believe the UFC took it from us. I can't believe it. But I think this fight is considerably harder for Leon. I think this fight's going to be a lot harder for him. Yeah. So yeah, just to kind of break it down a little bit of why I think that. I think Sean is good at utilising his grappling. Obviously, it goes without saying, but. Yeah. He's good at mixing it in with his striking too. A bit like Bilal, but Bilal's a lot better at it than Sean Brady. I don't think Sean Brady's going to beat Leon, but I think I think it's going to be hard for him. I think he's going to try stay on his face. He's going to try get hold of him, and I think it's going to be a very similar to Leon versus Kamaru Usman 3 in London a couple of years back. I think it's going to be a very similar fight to that. Whereas Leon's going to try keep get off him on the cage, reverse position, strike on the separation. I can kind of envision the fight going that way. I'm not sure what you think about that, guys.
I think it's going to depend on if Leon, or should I say, if Sean can impose his strength on Leon. Because that's when he'll be able to nullify Leon's threat and utilise his own threat a little bit more. And if he can get him in good, even if he's just in half guard and he just gets a few elbows in and big shots here and there, and he can stop Leon from moving away from the cage and just getting him in awkward positions, just making it uncomfortable as possible for Leon in his own country, that's his route to victory. For Leon, I think his route to victory, he has to try and keep it on the feet. He has to try and keep him at distance. A lot of teeps, a lot of kicks, a lot of fast pace. He's got to start fast. And I think he'll be hungry because it's quite a long time out of the cage. And the last time he was in the cage, he was drained, tired, lost his title. So, Leon's got a big point to prove. But that's how I see the fight being played, having to be played out for each of them. What do you think about it, Nathan? Because it's a tough one. Like Alex said, it's probably a harder matchup. Where do you sit on it, man?
Yeah, I'm worried for Leon in this one. I think Sean Brady has the skill set to beat him. It doesn't mean I'm not thinking that Leon will win. At the moment, I back Leon to win, but Leon fights in the same sort of way with the same sort of intensity, sort of regardless of the opponent, and that might go against him in the same way it did in the Bilal Muhammad fight. That is the only worry. If he fights that way and concedes a takedown early, we know Edwards has an eye for the spectacular on occasion, but a lot of the time it is decision wins. It's grinding, getting the best of your opponent over a long period of time, and he's certainly capable of that. He can't allow Brady to impose his strength on him, as we highlighted, that being an issue that could arise come that time. But Edwards has to keep it on the feet. He has to be sharp. I don't think he's going to, I don't think anything's particularly going to change in terms of he's not going to come out and all of a sudden rush him and try. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to see the Leon Edwards you always see. He just has to make sure his defense is at its best and hope that Brady, because there is a clear advantage in this fight for Edwards, and it is on the feet. If he can keep it there, then there's no way Edwards doesn't win. And I think it would be a decision win if that was to be the case. But also there is the issue of if Brady can score a couple of takedowns, and Edwards, while he's incredible off his back and he's really good at getting up, as he's shown in so many occasions, Brady's strong enough to keep him there, then, we could be looking at sort of a crowd-sucking performance that might, by the time it gets to the third, the fourth round, it's the people in the arena are starting to doubt him, and that probably would kill the atmosphere and kill the adrenaline a little bit. I don't know, I don't know how much it has the effect on someone like Leon who's done it at the biggest occasion so many times, but it could have a general effect on the fight and the vibe of the fight. I know it doesn't really matter, but it could be one that it's quite quiet, and it would be on Edwards to show something. But I think he's going to fight the same way he usually fights, but hopefully with the lessons learned from the Bilal fight, and that will stand him in good stead. And there is an opportunity there's a clear opportunity for Leon to get a rematch for this belt. And if he wins this fight, I think he'll have it.
Yeah, it's just waiting on Shavkat, isn't it? Obviously, we've got the Bilal Jack Della Maddalena fight, but then Shavkat, as we all know, is next in line. So it's just waiting. But Leon needs to win on Saturday first, and as we've just highlighted, it's a very, very tough one. You think he's not going to change the way he comes out and stuff? He probably won't. You are probably right, Nathan. However, he does need to move the pace a lot faster, doesn't he? Throw a little bit more, because sometimes I think he's a bit reluctant to throw at stages, Leon, where there's clear openings. I think sometimes, and we've seen it over the years with Leon, with his wins and good wins as well, he's made them harder than what they need to be sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Diaz is like the prime example of that, isn't it?
The Nate Diaz fight,
almost felt like he lost it afterwards, even though he clearly won it. It was like it ended up making it a lot tougher. It's it's an example of just not being able to hold on to the lead almost in football. You go 2-0 up, you're comfortable, but then you give away something stupid, and then the last 5 minutes you're sort of, oh God, we're not going to draw this, are we? And that's almost how that fight felt. So yeah, Edwards has got to, I'm pretty adamant that he won't particularly change, but as long as he can keep it up for 25 minutes, then again, keep it on the feet, he should be fine. But it's going to be a nervy watch. I get the feeling it's going to be one where, as Edwards fans, I think we're going to be a bit nervy watching that fight and how it goes down.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it rounds up an absolutely terrific weekend of mixed martial arts. Be sure to tune in for the review afterwards, where we will go through this card that we clearly can't wait for, and the whole of the UK and the world will be watching. There's so many implications, so many different dimensions, so many different doors to open, and it's just so exciting. Everybody, don't forget, head over to Hez Boxing Equipment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you again next week, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.